Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Learning Lines. This is episode 2. Today, we are going to talk about the great American author Edgar Allan Poe and his poem Annabel Lee. This is widely known as his last completed poem. It was published in 1949, and it is a Gothic romantic poem about young love and obsession. It has fantasy elements in it, and it has a whole lot of rhythm, a lot of rhyme inside of it, and a lot of repetition as well. Today we're going to read the poem, we're going to look at the vocabulary, do several activities to review the vocabularies, focus on the expressions in the poem, and then try to use these words and expressions in conversation. Okay, I'll begin with a reading. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than a love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that, long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we. And neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so all the night tide I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. Finish. Okay, so let's look at the vocabulary and then we'll talk about the stylistic choices in the poem. We'll go line by line. It was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea. A kingdom is the area over which a king rules or has dominion or control over. Kingdom. That a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. A maiden is a young, unmarried woman. It's often used in ballads and in old poetry. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with the love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted, her and me. Winged really just means winged, having wings. Winged is used there for poetic purposes. It adds an extra syllable to what normally is only one syllable. Winged becomes winged. Seraph. A seraph is the highest order of angels. An angel actually is the lowest. So a seraph is a very powerful angel. Heaven is the place where you go after you die if you've been conducting your life really well. If you've been a very great person, you'll be rewarded by living in paradise, in the land of milk and honey. Coveted her and me. To covet, is more than to envy. It's to wish, to take, to grab, to steal, to rob, to pilfer something that belongs to somebody else. Okay, let's do a quick review of the words in these two stanzas. Which word describes a very powerful spiritual being in heaven? Being is entity or like a creature. Seraph. The answer is seraph. Okay, which word describes a young unmarried woman or lady? A maiden. Which word describes the dominion or the area or the land that a king or a royal person rules over? A kingdom. Okay, which word describes a, a very, very violent and strong urge to take something from somebody because you want it so much? You are hyper jealous, hyper envious of it. It is to covet. Okay, good job. Let's continue. And this was the reason that long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, reason is an idea, a motivating idea. The reason is why you do something. A wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee. To chill is to make cold, to freeze. Your refrigerator is a type of chiller. Chill is also a casual way to say, calm down, chill, everything's all right, don't worry, chill. My beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me. High-born kinsman and bore. High-born is to be born on high, to be born with a high ranking. High-born is usually a noble person or an aristocrat. A kinsman is the combination of kin and man. Man here is human, so it could be a woman as well. A kinsman is a family member or somebody from the same tribe or from the same community even. And bore her away. Bore is the past tense of to bear. To bear is to carry, to endure, to withstand. If you bring this somewhere, like up a mountain, you would say, oh, I bore this up the mountain. To shut her up in a sepulchre, in this kingdom by the sea. A sepulchre is a big word to mean tomb. A tomb and a sepulchre are places where you bury a body, where you hide the corpse. Well, not hide, it's where you place the corpse after somebody has died. Okay? The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Envy. Envy is stronger than jealousy. Jealousy is a feeling of insecurity over or because somebody is trying to take something that you believe is yours. So if you have a partner, you could be jealous of somebody because you're afraid that person might steal your partner's heart, I mean. To envy means to want what somebody else has. It's a little bit weaker than to covet. Covet is very, very strong. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we. Okay, wiser. Wise is related to the word wisdom, and wise is a form of intelligence. But intelligent is different from cunning, and it's different from wise. Smart and intelligent usually is associated with your IQ or how quickly you can memorize something or just learn something. But wisdom is something that everybody gains through experience, through making this appropriate decisions, through making choices that benefit you, that come out better, for you. Okay, so a person with kind of low IQ or low intelligence may in fact be the wisest in a group. That person may have the most experience with dealing with worldly matters, with solving problems, with managing money or time or health, for example. He may or she may be the wisest person that you know. Okay, let's review the words from all of it so far. Which word describes a form of intellect or smartness or intelligence? Wisdom, to be wise. Which word here describes a place underground? It doesn't have to be, but usually it's underground. Sepulcher. Okay, which word here describes a motivation or a cause to do something? The idea for doing something. Reason. And last one, which one describes being born of high ranking? To be born inside of a royal family or a family of nobility. That word is highborn. Okay, last stanza. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams. Beam, to beam, is to shoot brightly. The sun beams. Also, if you smile a lot, then you are beaming. A person may beam from cheek to cheek if they see their favorite person come through the city, for example. Of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so all the night tide I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride. Darling is an affectionate word to mean loved one, or sweetheart, or my baby, for example, my partner, my cherished one. So your darling is somebody you treasure, somebody you cherish, somebody you love. In her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. Sepulchre and tomb are the same. Okay? All right. Well, I reviewed some of these words with you. What I also have for us today is some questions that we can answer together. They will be in the form of multiple choice questions with a blank in the sentence and 4 choices of the vocabulary words we've just gone over. I'll read them to you, okay? Here we go. First one, number 1. The king ruled his vast from a castle surrounded by stone walls. The king ruled his vast tomb, his vast seraph, his vast maiden, or his vast heaven. Okay? Or, yeah, kingdom is 2, okay? The answer is kingdom, 2. Oh, by the way, vast means large, expansive, comprehensive, broad. Number 2, in the fairy tale, a young lived alone in a tower waiting for rescue. In the fairy tale, a young demon lived, a young seraph lived, a young maiden lived, or a young angel lived. It's a fairy tale. Usually there's a young lady in a tower or trapped in a castle or needing help. That young lady is a maiden. Okay, number 3. The statue showed a horse rising into the sky with large feathered wings. What kind of horse is this? Is it a highborn horse, a winged horse, a wise horse, or a kinsman horse? Well, it did say the horse has wings, so the answer is B, winged. Number 4. In religious art, A is a powerful fiery angel said to stand closest to God. Is this fiery angel a seraph, a demon, a maiden, or a kinsman? I think this one is a little bit easy. Did you guess seraph? If you did, good job. Next one. Many people believe that after death, good souls go to, the operative or keyword here is good souls. Do they go to a sepulcher, a kingdom, a heaven, or a tomb? The answer is heaven. Okay, last one. It is wrong to your neighbor's belongings and wish they were yours. Okay, it is wrong to bear your neighbor's belongings, to covet your neighbor's belongings, to beam, or to chill your neighbor's belongings. And here the context is that you want to take it. That verb is to covet. Okay, great. So we've studied the vocabulary. Let's talk a little bit about literary technique. I have prepared a sheet for us to look over. And while we're doing that, we can look at the rhymes. So a rhyme is a word that has the same ending sound as another word. For example, hi and bye, go and show. Okay? This poem, as I said earlier, is highly repetitive. It uses repetition. And you have to ask yourself, why is it doing this? It's always to show a theme, to develop a main idea. Let's go look at the rhymes really quickly. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. Okay, we already have 2 pairs of rhymes. One is ago, and the other one is no. Okay. Then we have another rhyme. We have see, Lee, Annabel Lee, me. Okay. Now, you may notice that there are more E sound rhymes. Ask yourself why. Why is it rhyming this? Well, let's look at the rest of the poem, or at least the next stanza, to get a better idea why. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. Did you hear the rhymes? This one is maybe quite obvious. This is, again, the E sounds. Here we have see, Lee, and me. Do the other lines rhyme? Child, love, and heaven? Ild, of, N. Do they rhyme? Do they sound the same? No, they don't. Okay, now I'll tell you that in the rest of the poem, there is an extensive use of the E rhymes. And why? Well, think of the name of the poem. Think of the main characters. It's me and Annabel Lee. This is suggesting that the repetition is highlighting the important person, highlighting the person that is being obsessed over. Now, think of an obsession. When you have an obsession, or maybe an infatuation, or person that you love or like very much, then you will consistently keep and continually think of that person again and again and again. That person's looks, or that person's ideas, or associated places may repeat in your mind again and again. So the repetition here is conveying or showing how much the speaker loves, is obsessed with, adores Annabel Lee. Lee, Lee, Lee is inside of every thought of his in the poem. Okay, so this is showing the nature of love and obsession, and how close they are, how much they overlap. Okay, there is another theme here that I want to show. It's the idea between generations. A generation is a group of people about the same age. So here we have two generations. We have the high-born kinsmen, the older people. In fact, we can say there's three generations. And above that, there are the seraphs, or the angels. And then there are the main characters who are young. They're children. It says they're children. Okay? So what happens between the two generations, the younger and the older? Well, the younger suffer, but they have the passion. They feel alive. They feel consumed by love. They're motivated by a passion, by a feeling. And then the others, they're envious, they're coveting, they're jealous. They are reactionary. They see something that they don't have, and they want to take it. They swoop in, and they pick her up, they take her away, and they bury her in the kingdom by the sea in a sepulcher under the night tides. Okay, so this is a poem also about power. Here we see the idea that the adults may not understand the kids, and the kids may understand adults as fearsome, as terrifying, as unreasonable, as irrational. And maybe what you can think about with this poem is how can we be fair across the generations? How do we understand the generations? How does an older person understand young love? How does a young person understand what love is at all, if it's all they know? Okay, I prepared some conversation topics for us. I want to ask you this question using some of the expressions inside of the poem. What do you do with total devotion? Devotion is focus. What do you focus your life onto? Okay, so I play with no other thought than to become an athlete. So I climb with no other thought than to become an athlete. I practice shogi with no other thought than to become a competitor on the world stage. What do you do with total devotion? Okay, another expression from the poem. What do you love with a love more than love? So love more than love means with an ultra high sense of love, with a love that is greater than love. Okay, so you can change the words. Instead of love, you can say respect. For example, who do you respect with a respect more than respect? You really, really respect this person. Okay, so for example, I really respect my math instructor because he makes math look so fun and so approachable and so relatable. I respect, with a respect more than respect, my parents because they stayed together and they're living happily in retirement now. What are you devoted to with a devotion more than devotion? I am devoted to with a devotion more than devotion. Let's see. Uh, Teaching online and having an impact across a large swath of the population. Okay, here's another expression from the poem, to covet. Honestly speaking, is there anything you covet of others? Is there something you wish you could have that others have? Let's see. Mm. Oh, I covet my friend's piano playing abilities. I covet my other friend's ability with speaking Japanese, for example. I covet that person for having a really nice violin, for example. Okay? If you were highborn and lived in a kingdom by the sea, what would your day be like? If I were highborn and I lived in a kingdom by the sea, I would wake up to some coffee prepared by a butler of some sort, and I would go out to the beach and sit under some shade and read a book for 3 hours, and then call a friend over and have a little, or I guess big, lunch picnic and discuss the book that I was just reading. And then I would go attend some lessons for the next 4 hours. For example, piano lesson, Japanese lesson, violin lesson, drawing lesson, painting lesson, and then maybe go climbing at the end of the day. Some rocks outdoors. That's what I would do. Okay, what about by far? Let's use by far. Which is by far more interesting? Okay, we are comparing things now. Which is by far more interesting? Let me ask you, skiing or snowboarding? Myself speaking, I personally find that snowboarding is by far more fun than skiing because when you're snowboarding, you're twisting your whole body, and that's just more fun than doing this. Okay, which is by far more interesting? Reading books or reading manga? Okay, for me, reading books is by far more interesting because I get to use my imagination and learn a lot of interesting vocabulary and expressions. Oh, and also I get to read books from 300 years ago, 400 years ago, before manga was even invented, or popularized anyways. Okay. Ooh, I forgot this one. In the poem, it says half as happy as. But we can change it into its inverse. We can say twice as happy. So let me ask you a question. Where are you twice as happy than at home? We're comparing. So home is great, I'm happy there, but twice as happy means more happy here than here. Okay? So let me give you an example. I am twice as happy in a cafe with a lot of sunshine and fantastic coffee and classical music playing than I am at home. I like both, but I really love being in that first place. Here's another question. What are you twice as happy doing than studying English? Okay, I know you like studying English. That's what you're watching this video. I like studying Japanese, but what else do I really love? I love climbing outdoors. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm twice as happy climbing outdoors than staying at home studying English. Okay? So we practice making comparisons there. Okay, well, that's all for now from this episode. If you have any poems you would like me to look at or teach, please leave a comment below. Let me know somehow. If you have any comments or questions, please share them as well. I'd be happy to read them. Thank you so much. Bye.